Bitcoin bounces back above 60,000 bucks, and the question of the day is might this just be a bit of a bear trap with Bitcoin playing out a rather quick and abrupt move below 60,000 bucks, and well, with it hovering right now just around 59,600, I do believe that is a legitimate question to be asking, as it is supported by a few things that we have spoken about both yesterday and what we'll go over today in a little bit more detail. So other than that, we can just jump right on this one, starting off with something completely different actually, and I want to cover up a little bit of market fundamentals here. So this is one of the fundamental pieces that actually, in my opinion, does matter, and that is, of course, what the Fed is doing. Now, of course, in my experience, it is very unwise to be speculating what the Fed is going to do, because that is a game of literally guessing. But when they tell you what they're going to do, they almost always, in fact, they do always play it out, as they are very much telegraphing their own moves so that they can be, I guess, as easy to follow as possible for big money managers. And in this case, we can see that the Fed has announced that it will significantly curtail its quantitative tightening program starting in June. This is news as of a day ago or 2 days ago when Powell was speaking. This is actually, in my opinion, a very big thing. It's surprising me to see no one talk about this, or at least not too many people talk about this from what I've seen. Just because people had some sort of weird obsession with like what the Fed was doing, in the past years. But generally, people were always speculating on what the Fed might do, not what the Fed is telling you that they're going to fucking do, which they're very consistent. So why is this important? Well, quantitative tightening was what essentially kind of kickstarted the 2022 bear market when the Fed announced that they were going to end quantitative easing. It's like a code word, quantitative easing. Like quantitative easing, where is that from? It sounds like it's from Pornhub. I'm very familiar with code words, by the way. I live in Dubai, and the code words for real estate agent and fitness expert are escorts. Yes, a real estate agent selling your pussies, and also fitness this dick inside your mouth. Yes, it's very, very common here. Oh, what do you do? Real estate. I understand. Anyways, yeah, so where was I going with this? Yeah, so quantitative tightening did kind of kickstart the 2022 bear market when the Fed announced that. I think the highs were put in about a month or two after that. And, well, in this case, it is going to be any. So it's not the same thing as starting quantitative easing, but of course, it is the first sort of domino to fall in easing financial conditions yet again, it seems like. So to me, this is significant, and it does imply that, we probably do see a turnaround relatively soon. It is a legitimate question to be asking. And when we go over here to the next chart, which is going to be Coinbase, I do believe that there is something that, if occurred today, would indicate that we're very likely to see a bear trap, or at least it would be confirmed on Coinbase. And Bitcoin trades very close to Coinbase, as we have gone over in the past. Heavy mathematical correlation there. And for Coinbase, any sort of a closure above the median on the HPDR bands, which is about 232, let's just call it 233, would be that. And this is a phenomenal, massive wick to the downside thus far, indicating that all of the damage that has been done during this past week has been more or less eaten back up. Now, that would be step number one, getting back above the median, which is 232. That probably would be good enough for me. And again, this one does close today in 14 hours, 3 minutes, and 23 seconds. The most obvious, no questions asked, like, holy shit, this one is going to very likely retest the highs. Maybe not next week, but over the next couple months, would be if you do see a closure back above last week's high, which is 239, as we would have one massive bullish engulfing dodo in that case. That would be an extremely strong signal for myself. I think that's obviously less likely to happen today, but getting back above 232, I mean, that's only a $5 move, or $4 to $5 move from where it currently is at right now. And if that were to happen, I'd be heavily biased towards Bitcoin doing something relatively similar. Again, keep in mind from yesterday's video, we have seen the average percentage correction play out just now not just now, but in this past week for this current corrective phase for Bitcoin at around 23.5%. 20%. And again, that is very much within the context of the, the flavor of the cycle corrections that we've seen throughout the last year and a half almost, where Bitcoin's played out low 20% basically. And we've seen that time and time again from cycle to cycle to cycle, 2010, 2013, 2017, and 2020, where Bitcoin generally likes to play out around the same percentage correction from these cycles, even in terms of timing as well, but less so there. Definitely a heavy correlation with the actual percentage number. I mean, even going all the way back to 2010, I mean, there's around 50% corrections. These 47 and 48% corrections, 42 to 35 days, 25, 26, 29, 25, or 26 again. So on and so forth. I won't go through all this. If you want a more in-depth analysis, you can check out yesterday's video for that one. But yeah, in the current phase, Bitcoin has, since the high, put in about 40. This is going to be day number 49 after Sunday is when this one does close. And throughout this past cycle, the longest amount of corrections were what was this? Like Q2, Q3 of last year. Yeah, basically summer of last year. Both 63 days and about 21% corrections respectively. So, with 49 days in the books, I would say another couple weeks, I suppose. And if Bitcoin is going to indeed put in a low, and you might even call it a bear trap as well, that would probably be the timing for that. So that would be kind of mid-May. So fair enough. Anyways, moving on from there, should also be aware that I did put out a tweet on this, I think like a week ago as well. This red moving average, the 5 exponential moving average on the monthly time frame, just been a generally good governor for Bitcoin in the long term as to when markets are in trending upside motion. We do expect our corrections down to that region, and as long as Bitcoin is, in that upwards trend, like literally pressure on as of that month, we do expect, that to, price to remain above that. And that's been consistent again throughout the whole history of Bitcoin. Yeah, there's been a few one-offs here and there when that's not held true, but when it has a positive slope and price is opening and closing above it, that is essentially a bull market's trend indication. And what do you know? Bitcoin has found its low around that region as well. And thus far has had a decent bounce from it. Not a super conclusive bounce just yet, but it's still early in the month. We're only on day number 3 now. So ultimately, what I'm trying to say is that if you are looking for a bear trap, this would be a great area for it. And similarly, as we've gone over in other videos, and what I'd even start to really say right now is that if you do start to see Bitcoin really below its current low on a closing basis, I'm going to be looking for, at minimum, a multi-month long correction. And I might start saying some crazy shit like the cycle's over, to be honest with you. I just want to prepare people for that, just because I am, the more and more that I look at these charts, not just this one, but several other ones, that's what it looks like to me. I mean, we do expect in trending upside markets, price to remain above that, on an open and close basis with positive slope. Again, it is not, well, actually, yes, it was true over there as well, so fair enough. Anyways, moving on from there, Meta Signals has come back and fired off, I believe, a 6-hour time frame signal right here. I do have these statistics over here. Let me just bring them up on my other screen. Where the fuck did my chat go? There we go. Found it. So for the Bitcoin specific signals, target 1 has had an 81% probability of meeting. Target price has had an 81% probability. Jesus Christ, my fucking brain is not working recently. I've been sick for like the last 2 weeks. You wouldn't know because I consume an ungodly amount of caffeine just to get myself through these videos and do my early morning rituals and set up my bots and shit. But after that, I take a nice little nap, and then, oh man, then it's the best fucking time. You know what time it is? It's time to play some Dark Souls 3, which I just beat, by the way, every fucking boss as well, with my big old Unga Bunga set. That's right, Unga Bunga Bonk Bonk, and that's maybe what the Bitcoin Boolaws do here as well. I realize that you can actually barely see the targets as well on my screen, but target 1 was 59,990. It does seem that we have hit that, or we have exceeded that one in the morning here. Target 2 is going to be 62,243, and that has a 52% probability to be hit. And target 3 with a 32% probability is around 71,375. I think that would be like obviously bear trap confirmed well before then. In fact, I'd even say bear trap in my opinion would be confirmed with Bitcoin back above Tuesday's high, anywhere above Tuesday's high, especially on a closing basis on CME. It's actually 65,000 and change on spot price action. What is that? 47,750 or so. One of those two conditions, if met, would indicate, bear trap confirmed. Until then, does Bitcoin play out a little bit more of a bounce from this region? Probably yes. Can it retest somewhere down around $57,000 low in the interim? Sure, but we wouldn't expect new closures below there before playing out a little bit of a bounce. But understand that even if bounce, God, man, my brain really is fucking wrecked. But understand that even if a bounce gets to 61,000 or even 62,000 and change, it doesn't really mean all that much. Although it is, a tradable move for sure. I mean, it's a multi-$1,000 move, but ultimately it's not significant in the greater scheme of things. It's just, it'd just be kind of like a mean reversion bounce right there. Anyways, moving on from there, I should also be aware, or at least perhaps I should aware you, that stochastic momentum on all higher term timeframes continues to remain to the downside. So whenever I'm seeing something like this, that tells me that at best, if Bitcoin is going to put in a bear trap from these regions, you see some sideways for a while. Again, as we said earlier, maybe like into mid-May. But if you don't really see Bitcoin break down before mid-May hits, that would be another damn good indication that the lows are already in. Until then, there are still risks to the downside, obviously. We do see that, not 5-day, but weekly stochastic momentum on CME remains to the downside below 69,550. 5-day is also going to be downside angled below 69,600. 2-day time frame technically could have a chance to cross up, but 60,900 still down, to be fair, and daily down below 60,850. So as long as we see all of those in unison to the downside, I would still be aware of that, it's not just going to green deal its way out of here, but the more that Bitcoin goes sideways within this region, the more and more naturally that these will have a chance to reset. And as they reset, well, without breaking down further, again below the current low, that'd be a good indication of a bear trap forming, and you could expect Bitcoin to work its way back up probably in the later half of May, and then June likely a nice pleasurable month as well for the Bitcoin boo laws. Anyways, okay, that's enough for me today. It's been a nice 12.5-minute video. I forgot to say it as well. If you do find this content valuable, please do consider liking and subscribing. I don't know, maybe even share it as well. It helps out the channel, which helps get this information to you as well on a daily basis. So yeah, I think that's a good place for me to be leaving off. As always, I want to wish you the best. I am working on, by the way, a lot of videos in the background, especially for the Krown Quant automation users, because we do have a new included indicator there. But with this fucking sickness, I'm just not at my best, so I don't really want to be recording anything that's super important. But I have put out text guides for now on the Teachable website. You can check out this everything right there, and that should answer most, if not all, questions, hopefully. But at some point, I will do a recorded video for that. Anyways, holy shit, my face isn't even here anymore. Oh my God. It's really over for me. Just realized my camera's off, but that's all good. You can see me, but you can't hear me. Anyways, as always, wish you the best. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully Saturday.